Y'all all saw it. I saw it. You saw it. $5, 500,000 parlay, anytime touchdown. Sorry, I can't do that for you. But what I can do for you is win your NFL Week 17 College Bowl game, New Year's, Moss Money, Money Pot. Let's go. Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Money Pot Podcast, Money Pot Betting Show. I am the host. I am the CEO. They call me Moss Money, and we got our guy with us. One guy down, but one guy steps up. We got our own professional gambler, our own professional bettor. C Sharp, what's up, bro?
What's going on, everybody? Looking forward to turning the page to the new year. We got one last
happy
week,
holidays to you, brother.
right?
I had to say that to you.
Cheers! One last crack at college football here before we turn the page to draft season. I'm looking forward to the good matchups.
Yeah, that's coming. Just to give you a quick snap bit of that, Sharp is going to be working on a full draft show. So make sure if you love the draft, if you love talking draft, call it Sharp's Corner, Sharp's Draft. We're working on it in the background. Make sure you hit the subscribe notification button so you know when C Sharp and introducing a new guy to the team that's coming along soon. Can't wait for him to start. That'll be happening sooner than you think. Draft season is upon us. But like Sharp was saying, we got bets. College bowl season isn't here yet, isn't done over yet. We got plenty of picks here. Last week, it's becoming a broken record. Another good week for the good guys.
One more for the good guys.
Right. I don't know what else to tell you. You know where it is. The link will be up top if you want to see the picks from last week. But they're all broken down. They're all there. Crushed Texas State. Sharp, you had a good bet on. You went 4-1. Obviously, we got some love out there, right? As we say, some love out there on that San Fran bet. But
you never want to lose your big bet of the week. But when you cover it up with 4 wins, and then you also sprinkle in a TJ Watt mini future at 2-1 to lead the NFL in sacks. I feel like that was a good little look. So all in all, I was really happy with how I did this week. I was wrong on the Ravens. It is what it is. Hats off to them, and they played great as the underdog. How the NFL goes, everyone will think the Ravens are great. It'll probably be the Dolphins week. That's just how the NFL goes.
Facts. Big facts. And that was a Christmas Day game. What were some of your other ones? I think you were on Detroit pretty big, heavy.
I had Detroit. We had the Rams Thursday. That got us off to a great start.
In Seattle too, right?
And then kind of the double dip. Remember we talked about where if we thought the Rams were going to win, we took them to cover, and then we said if that does come true, you want to smack the Bucs because they essentially have the division up for grabs. So if the Saints lose, go ahead and bet the Bucs. I hope everyone out there did that. I did that. I know Moss, you did that. We smacked on the Bucs, and the Bucs come.
Remember I switched up. I switched on the end.
Damn, that was the one.
Yeah, that was the one where I switched up. I got to keep it a bean. So I gave the Bucs out. We talked about the Bucs, and you're absolutely right. But on the back end, I actually switched up because I thought with the Jags reeling here, I think I looked at it 4 losses with Trevor coming back. I'm like, oh man, they're gonna go all in. They're gonna give a run, but couldn't be even more wrong. The Bucs handled business as we thought they would. And it was really game time, and I think they might. I guess they're going to shut Trevor down, right? He's got an AC problem, an AC joint problem. So I think it's in his throwing shoulder too as well. So
I think my season win total. I can't believe this is possible, but I think my season win total bet of 9.5, which a month ago just seemed like it was a lock to go over, and they were cruising to 11, 12 wins, and then. That's the NFL. Your star quarterback gets rolled up on, and then he suffers a concussion the next week trying to grind it out because he can't move and he can't get away from pass rushers, and so he gets hit. And here we are. The season unravels pretty quickly, and I think the Jags are probably not going to hit their season win total. They're probably a 9-win team at best, and that's going to be a loss for me, a pretty big loss. So You win some, you lose some, and that's just how it goes. You know, a month ago, we were all looking how bad did Seattle look. I was probably dead there, and they've regrouped.
And now
then
they're right
Jags
back.
the other way. So it's just how the NFL goes. Right when you think you know how a season's going to play or a team's going to play out, the Niners are unbeatable. They get smoked. Now everyone will think the Ravens are unbeatable. They'll probably lose. It's how the NFL goes. It's week to week. You stack it all up. You see the chips kind of fall, and that's how the season plays out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I'll link our future show that we had where we crushed that too, right?
Yep.
We crushed that. We had a lot of good bets. I think my biggest bet of that was CMC leading the league in rushing, and nobody's even close. Cruising, nobody's even close. I think he's close to 1,500 yards. I'm trying to think who's the closest. Is it Mostart from Miami? Maybe
I would think it might be Kieran Williams.
Of
the Rams.
be, yeah.
He's come on really strong. He's had a great I could be wrong there, but I would think Williams has got to be pretty close.
Yeah. Mostart's not bad. He's fourth. He's got 10, 12.
Mostert's had a monster year touchdown wise. A monster,
yeah,
but he's got Devin Achane that's kind of eating up some yardage from him.
Yeah. But I mean it's over, right? That ticket's cashed. He's got over 300 yards more than anybody closer to him, CMC. Yep. So like I said, I'll link the future show up there. But let's do what we came here to do. Let's bring up the handy dandy sportsbook. We've been cooking with ESPN, so I'm not going to switch up. As you can see, I was already looking at some bets, looking at some plays. Let's start it off, man. I do have a bet. Let's go to New York Jets versus Cleveland Browns. Browns are favorite. -7.5. Thursday night football. Total is 34.5. Little bit of kind of funniness coming out of the Jets, right? Aaron Rodgers talked about how it was the Jets' idea to make him available. They wanted him to practice, and he's coming out of the haters and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, the Jets are finished. They're done. They're not making it into the playoffs. It's a wrap for them. I don't like that look. Let me switch it up to this look. That's a better look. Yeah, that's better. So, but I do have a bet here. It's actually not on ESPN. I'm gonna have you guys go to DraftKings. I'm not gonna switch it over because ESPN does not have it. But I look back at this Jets team, and now even with Trevor Simmons or what's old boy's name?
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson. Yeah, it doesn't matter. 9 games. I went back. I had to go back all the way through 9 games. Last week was the first time, but they haven't scored over 14 points since they beat the Eagles October 15th. Against the Giants, they scored 13. Chargers, they scored 6. Raiders, they scored 12. Bills, they scored 6. Dolphins, they scored 13. Falcons, they scored 8. Texans, they scored 6. Dolphins, they got zipped. Commanders, they got 30. The Browns need this game. I believe if I go back to my other little cheat sheet, let me just make sure I'm right. Cleveland wins and they clinch a playoff berth. It must win for Cleveland right now. Now, there's other scenarios for Cleveland to get in, right? But it's looking like Joe Flacco and the Cleveland Browns are going to the playoffs, believe it or not. I think it's the first time since 2002, maybe 2003. I think it was I saw that the Cleveland Browns has been in the playoffs. I might be a little bit off on that. So if you guys in the comments, double check, fact check me, leave a comment. Let me know when's the last time Cleveland Browns have been to playoffs. But I think I'm pretty good on that number. But what I'm taking here is I'm taking the Jets under 13.5 points first half. I'm sorry, no, not first half, total. Under 13.5 total points. It's on DraftKings. It's a little bit chalky. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. It's a little bit chalky. It is minus 122 on the number. I think the bet is strong enough. The Cleveland Browns defense is going to be strong enough to keep this offense, off the field. I'm not worried about Trevor Siemian. I'm not worried about Bryce Hart. Now, Cleveland's not the defense they once were, kind of back in the beginning of the year. But I do think this defense is good enough to keep the Jets under the total that they have. Now on ESPN, if we look at ESPN right now, I believe they have it at 12.5 on their first half, and it's at even money. Now, I was looking at it and I'm like, oh man, kind of like that with the total points here. The over I don't like too much at minus 30, so that tells me a touchdown and maybe a field goal, 2 field goals possibly here. Maybe a late score might get them over there if they have 6, right? They have 2 field goals in the beginning, a late score gets them over to 13. So a lot of ways you can get to 13. So if you like the under here on ESPN, it's even money. You don't want to pay the juice on it. I get it. But for me, I'm taking a 13.5. I love the 14.5. It's minus 155. Now, when we get to those high numbers, and you'll see some more videos as I break down lines and bankroll and all that stuff, you'll see this coming in the off season for me. But when you get to minus 155 and you have to lay minus 155 to win 100, to me, that has to be an automatic 2 or 3 unit bet for the value. It's got to be. You got to pay a little bit more for that. I don't like laying the minus 155 just to win 100. I would rather pay if I was laying the 2, what would that be? Minus 300 to win what, 200? I think almost, yeah, minus 3.
Well, yeah, 4.5 to win 3.
Yeah, 4.5 to win 3. So I would lay the higher number if you like the 14.5. The 14.5 is almost a sure thing, right? Like they haven't scored 14 points. They scored 14 points against the Commanders. It's the Commanders. That's the first problem. But they haven't scored more than 14 points since October 15th. So, it's almost a sure thing they're not going to score 14.5. So if you like the $1.55, I take that. I'm taking the 13.5 under Jets team total. Lock me in there. My first best bet of the night.
So I found a crazy way to bet this game.
Oh, I like crazy.
And it goes to team total. And we're picking up nickels here, and you're gonna have to risk quite a bit to win a little bit. But I just want to go with this little foolproof here and just hear me out. And it's just going off you. So ESPN is offering 12.5, right? Even.
Yep.
Go over to DraftKings. They're my favorite for props. They just offer so many more things for props. Good. Let's go to Jets team total. You don't have to pull it up. I can just tell you what it is. I've got it pulled up. Jets team total. At 10.5, you get plus 124. So I wouldn't even think about ESPN because at 12.5 under, you get plus 105 at DraftKings. So you're already getting better value at 12.5 by $5. Here's what I'm doing though. I'm going to take under 10.5. You get plus 124. So essentially I'm getting a quarter unit of juice for every full unit bet. Mm-hmm. So you take under 10.5 team total. But then what you do is just in case a hedge to that, but it's the same value. So either way, you're going to pick up a quarter unit. And if you bet 4 units, you're going to pick up a unit no matter what. You go to DraftKings and then you pull up the team total bands. And the team total bands for the Jets, 11 to 20 is plus 130. So if I'm under 10.5, I'm getting a plus 125. If I'm 11 to 20, I'm getting plus 130. As long as the Jets don't score over 21, as long as the Jets don't score 21.
They're not scoring 21 on the Cleveland Browns.
See what I'm saying? So what I'm thinking of doing, I know this is what I call picking up nickels, but if you risk 4 units on both these, you're going to pick up a unit on one of the sides, guaranteed.
What is that? What is that betting term when you bet both sides? Entourage, or what is it called?
My terminology for it is picking up nickels because you're essentially just picking up the you're essentially just picking up the juice off the winning side. But yeah, some people call it window shopping. Some people, there's a couple terminologies out there where you're you're just locking a sure money. And again, this isn't something where you're just doing 1 unit to pick up 0.25 units. This would be something where you try to do 8 units to pick up 2 or 4 to pick up 1. A unit's a unit in my world. And if you find good value, like this is good value where they're giving you plus 125 or more on both sides of a key number, I got to do it here. To me, this is just a no-brainer. I'm going to win a unit. Like, that's just how I look at it. Like, I can just close my eyes and know I'm going to win a unit because the Jets aren't scoring 21.
Agreed.
I know that was a lot of just kind of betting mechanics, and that's not really a handicap, but sports betting is a business, and sometimes you just got to find value in the numbers. You're betting numbers sometimes more than you're betting outcomes here, and this is just great value, and DraftKings provided it for us. Thanks, DraftKings.
I think it's called arbitrage. Arbitrage. That's what it's called. Arbitrage.
Yeah.
That's what they call it.
Yeah. Arbitrage betting
Yeah.
is kind of how you hedge yourself.
Yeah.
I call it picking up nickels just because it's, everyone can kind of visualize that terminology in your mind. It might only be it might only be 5 cents at the time, but if you consistently can find ways to pick up 5 cents, it adds up.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And like I said, the one thing about this show that you guys, the one reason I started this show was to teach people how to sports bet. Like, we give picks, we show you what it looks like at the end, but the beginning is how to bet, right? Understanding different terms, understanding different philosophies, understanding the mental. So, like I said, that's all still coming down the road. I will have more videos. We have old videos, but I want to do a better format of how to do it. And Sharp's seasoned vet, as they say, in the game. But what he just did, or what he just explained, is called an arbitrage type bet, where you're betting both sides. So it's like you're watching the game for free. It doesn't matter which side it lands on. You're going to win money. And that's where the key phrase, picking up nickels, because you're betting both sides, but you're still going to come out on top and win. And at the end of the day, that is what sports betting is all about. Is winning money.
That is what the house tries to do every time they set a line. They want the same number of people taking both sides of any one single bet so that they get the juice of the losing side. If they do that over and over and over and over and over, that's how their casinos keep growing and growing and growing and growing. Well, I'm trying to do that in reverse. They're giving you 2 chances at plus money to hit a window. You combine those windows, you've got to this is just a great bet here. I don't know many sharp people out there. You just wouldn't find a pro bettor that would disagree with what we're saying here is all I'm saying.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I like the bet. I like both sides of the bet. I wrote that down, so I will be on that bet. I'm picking up nickels because I just want to win and get
just
me to I just want to win. That's it. I just want to win. That's at the end of the day. It don't matter how I get there. It don't matter how many picks. It don't matter if you do a teaser, parlay, straight bet, arbitrage. Arbitrage. I'm sorry. Arbitrage. I'm sorry. Regardless of how it's said or how it's done, I want to give a slip and get more than I give back. That's it. That's the game. That's it. You know what I mean? That's the game that we want to play. All right, good bet. I like it. All right, let's go and switch it up. Let's go to college, man. College bowl season is here.
Yeah.
A lot of games this week. We will get to the New Year's Day bowl games. Right now, we got 2 games going on: Texas A&M, Oklahoma State. I missed out on Oklahoma State. I knew Oklahoma State was going to win this game. It's still early, second, tale of 2 halves. But right now they are driving, and it looks like they are minus 1,800, so that looks good. I did like USC in this game, even though Khalid Williams was out. I thought Louisville had a lot more players out than I think USC did, and Khalid Williams had some injuries during the season where the backup did get some ticks, so I felt like he was going to be able to score the ball. I think they were dogs in this game, if I'm not mistaken. When this line, especially because Khalid was out. So looks like they're driving. Third quarter, 8 minutes left. But I didn't have any picks on those games. We'll get to, like I said, the New Year's Eve games. If you want to wait, if you want to know more about the New Year's Eve games, just stick with us. We'll get to those after we get through NFL. Sharp, I know we have a couple college games here. We had talked offline here about some college games. I don't have anything in the SMU game is kind of, I'm assuming everybody's playing for SMU. I didn't see if Stone was out or not. That offense is just all gas, no brakes. So I expect them, the -10 makes sense to me. But I don't have a take on that. I don't have a take on Rutgers. I don't have a take on Kansas State, even though I would favor Kansas State. And I said this last week, got to make sure that you double check who's in and who's out. A lot of these guys are sitting out for their pro day prep. But the first game that does come up that I thought was interesting, and I just wanted to talk about, was Oregon State and Notre Dame. Now, Notre Dame's still favorite -6. I thought Oregon State had a really good, strong year this year. They had some where did they finish? I think they finished 8-4. They played well. I thought the defense played well. And I'm just kind of confused on this game a little bit because, Aldrich is out, obviously getting ready for the draft. Hartman is out, obviously getting ready for the draft. And I felt like this was the offense. I don't know much about the backup for Notre Dame. I know that defense is still pretty good. I'm pretty sure that safety is more likely out. I didn't check that, but I wouldn't be surprised if, I would be surprised if he's playing. But I feel like everybody from Oregon State is playing in this game, for the most part. So, but I know that, Martinez was Oregon State through and through, had a monster year on the ground. He was a beast. Obviously they're going with the backup. So I guess that's why. But, for the Sun Bowl, I feel like 6 points is a lot of points. I feel like 6 points is a lot of points with Hartman and the running back being out, Esteban, Aldrich being out. What do you think on this game, man? Because I guess talk me out of this bet because I like Oregon State in this bet.
Well, DJU hit the portal, and he's not playing in this game too. So
yeah, DJ. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
It's hard to know. These are these games I don't have a feeling for.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
it's just hard to know. These are those games where I just don't. I do agree with you. Like my lean, I just can't put my money down on these games. I just don't know enough. I've been paying attention to who's coming and going, who's sitting out on the key guys, but I just don't know enough about the game plan of these two coaching staffs in terms of how much they're trying to win. Obviously, anytime you play, you're trying to win. I think Marcus Freeman's done a good job. 6 does seem like a little bit much. Like maybe this line probably deserved to be 4. But DJU did mean a lot to Oregon State.
They did. Yeah,
but obviously so did Sam Hartman. And, no Audric Estime. I don't know. It's a tough handicap for me, to be honest with you.
Agreed.
College games get so ugly for me when so many key guys sit out. I'd rather just stay away.
Yeah, and then I think I just Googled it right now. It looks like Oregon State lost their second team, all Pac-12 tight end. Jack Billing is going in the transfer portal. Aiden Chills is out. German McCoy is out as well. Like you said, DJ is out as well. So makes a lot of sense. I don't know. Yeah.
4. It feels like a game that probably should be sitting at 4 more than 6, but I don't know enough to trust Oregon State at 6 to put my money on it. Is kind of the thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a good no bet.
Like I could see Oregon State being more of a live dog in a money line round robin where if their leg loses, their leg loses. If their leg hits, their leg hits. Great, but not like anything crazy. I wouldn't do anything outside of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll scratch that off in the bet. But we talked about this bet before, man, and like you said, it's tough to handicap these games. But I want to give you a side here. We had talked about, I think maybe a week ago on the look at not a maybe was it a week ago? Maybe it was a week ago, or maybe even 2 weeks ago on the look ahead line, where we thought that like Missouri might just trash Ohio State. Right now. Cotton Bowl, Missouri versus Ohio State. Missouri is now 3-point dogs as Ohio State's -3. Now we know I did look up. Henderson is going to play, but McCord is out. I don't think Trey Yanum was a big deal. It's really
Trip
more
train him?
Henderson.
No, he wasn't. Not with
Yeah,
Travion. I mean, Travion's their guy. I mean, Chip was a really good number 2 back. He was the power back.
yeah.
Henderson's the home run hitter. Chip Trainum kind of moved the chains. But they
Hmm.
have a young kid, Dallin Hayden, who's that downhill power back, and he's there, and they're going to elevate him next year to that role. So, to be honest with you, that's super marginal.
Right, and then we already know Marv is out. Harrison
Marv's the
Jr.
big one. We talked about it off air.
Yeah.
I think Devin Brown, early into the season, I sided with why Ryan Day chose McCord. He knew Harrison Jr. for a long, long time. And you just can't teach a wide receiver quarterback relationship. And so although I did know, and it was out there publicly, Ryan Day said it himself, Devin Brown definitely pushed Kyle McCord all summer long. It wasn't like Kyle McCord won the starting job easily. That came down to the very end. And I think it really just came down to the fact that Kyle McCord had that built-in relationship with Harrison Jr., and the team didn't want to necessarily have to worry about Devin Brown and Harrison Jr. cultivating that relationship on the fly with the team that they thought was good enough and proved out. I mean, it was a Kyle McCord pick 6, and I don't want to ever put it on one player. The game, there's a million reasons why Ohio State lost a close game. But obviously the pick 6 was the one single play that probably stood out the most as the reason why Michigan had the advantage in the game. And I think the one thing that Devin Brown provides that Kyle McCord doesn't is he's an athlete. So when the play breaks down, or when just the defensive players win on the back end, and it takes about 4 seconds to figure out someone's open, Devin Brown can run and Kyle McCord could not. And so maybe that's a difference in the game here. A couple weeks ago, I was with you. I really thought Missouri. I sprinkled a little money on Missouri. I was thinking more Ohio State players were going to opt out and go to the NFL. That's just always how it's been. I've been a fan of Ohio State for a long time. Them and Alabama. No team loses more. I don't care what any other program says. Maybe Georgia now. They're finally getting there. No program loses juniors to the NFL at the clip of Ohio State and Alabama. It's like a rite of passage. After 3 years, you go pro there. And this is the 1 year where it seems, I don't know if it's NIL. I would say it's probably NIL. The fact that you can't match first-round money or even second-round money, but the fact that these college programs can now legitimately sit down with a guy that's getting a 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round grade and say, look, we can match you that NFL money and get you a better draft status if you have a breakout year with us. It's giving these kids a real decision to think about. And this year, I'm going to be honest with you, there's about 4 key guys: JT Tuimoloau, Denzel Burke. I think he's going to go pro, but I think Jack Sawyer, Travion Henderson, Emeka Egbuka, and JT Tuimoloau, years past, they would have gone to the pros. They'd been sitting out this game.
I'm about to say Boca is coming back, right?
Yeah, I think all those guys might be coming back, except Denzel Burke. He's getting a 1st-round grade. You're getting a 1st-round grade. You need to go pro. That's just my opinion. You never know. You don't leave, or you don't stay in school if you're getting a 1st-round grade. You don't pass up a lottery ticket like that. So yeah, I think Ohio State has a lot more to play for. I think they were going to be totally looking ahead, and I think the players coming back want to jumpstart next year, and I think it starts now. And so I thought Missouri was the team looking to jumpstart next year. Well, I think this is 2 teams looking to jumpstart next year, and that's why I think you've seen the line open at 5, go all the way down to 1, and now it's come back to 3. Because you've seen all the news now that Ohio State's key guys outside of Harrison Jr. are going to play, and apparently they've looked fast. And you're getting them on an indoor track. You're getting Ryan Day with 3 weeks to prepare. I've totally switched my voice here. I've bought out of my position. I'm not going to have any money on this game because I think it's going to be a shootout. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game, and I don't really have a lean either way. I'm excited to watch this one because I think this could end up being the bowl game of the year.
So it's funny. Here's the drama. Ohio State. I'm reading it right now. Ohio State Harrison out Cotton Bowl, but status uncertain. This was dropped 4 hours ago. Now I seriously doubt he plays. Just because what is he, a top 2 pick, right? At this point,
Yeah,
like he doesn't drop past 3 at all, right?
No.
Is either right. So it's probably rare for somebody like this to play in a bowl game, but I love the drama here. Then I'm looking at it right now. Ohio State at Cotton Bowl right there. Man, I love the little.
He's been there. I will say that. He's not like he didn't travel with the team.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. People that I know that are at practice, he hasn't put on pads and actually practiced.
No, he's just been on the sideline.
So he's been there. I think he's kind of helping the young kids out is what I think. I think he's helping the Carnell Tates of the world. Hey, you need to be here for this route. Ryan Day's going to want you here. Brian Hartline's going to want you here, which I think is phenomenal. If you're going to sit out the last game, which I've got no problem with, it's a business decision at this point. You're not playing in the playoff. If you sit out a playoff game, I'm always going to think that's chicken shit. If you don't sit out a playoff game, I'm never going to get on you. It's just, to me. But what I will say is if you are going to sit out a game, you should totally go with your team and to help the young kids. It's bad if you just totally just alienate yourself from the program.
Yeah. Looking at this game here, total is, you said you like the total here. Total is 48.5. It does seem low. Reading through here, it is expected that what's his name? Devin Brown, that's what it is. Devin Brown should show out in this game a little bit here. Without Harrison, is obviously it'll be tough. I mean, he was just twice the next closest guy in terms of receiving, 3 times the next closest guy in terms of touchdown. I know you weren't a big McCord fan, but he still was good enough, right, to make plays. I want to bet this game. I do like Missouri, but now that I'm thinking about it, Ryan Day's had a month. His first half seemed right here. I don't even think we have a first half line here. Let me double check DraftKings real quick. I love betting stuff live.
Now I will say that to me, this is set up for one of those beautiful games to bet live. Like, I could totally see this being a spot where if it's back and forth, what you want to do is when the second to last team scores with like a minute and a half left and they kick off and the team that's getting the ball last is down, take them money line because they're probably going to go down and score and flip the script and win the last second, if that makes sense. So that's kind of how I'm looking at this game because I'm with you. I could see Ohio State's passing game taking a small step back, obviously without Harrison Jr. and a new quarterback. But I could see, because remember, here's the thing. Running backs, that RPO, when the quarterback can truly run with attached to the running back, makes the running back 2 or 3 times better. Everyone that's played football knows that. When the edge can't just blindly crash or every linebacker can't just blindly hunt the running back, that matters. And if Devin Brown can prove early on that he's dangerous with his legs and everyone's a half step slower, we already know Henderson's a home run hitter. If all of a sudden you got to worry about Brown, Henderson could go off. And if that dude starts going off, Ohio State's a monster. They're just tough to handle because that dude's kind of the game breaker. I've talked about it all year. Like, he's that dude that can hit you with 3 carries and go 60 yards multiple times and flip the game.
Do you think with Devin Brown, you think it'll be a hurry up type, fast?
Up-tempo, RPO, run, just trying to like go helter-skelter and kind of get those boys flying around, making them chase make them chase Brown left, Henderson right, Brown left, Henderson right, play action. Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of all over.
All right, I like it because it's under the key number of 24 for the first half. What we're going to do here is I'm taking a small bet here, maybe three-fourths, maybe even a full unit bet for me, which is $100 for me. We're going to go over 23 and a half first half. So I wanted some action in this game.
I like it.
You know what I mean? And my thought on that on the handicap on that game is that both head coaches has had time to obviously game plan for this. Obviously, we give the edge to Ryan Day here. But I think at least the first 10, 15 plays are scripted, you would say. About 10 to 15 games are scripted. And with that hurry up that Ohio State will probably play with fast, I think sooner or later, I think they might break one out here. Obviously we give the head nod over Ryan Day over, was that Eli Drinkwitz? I think it is.
Eli Drinkwitz, yeah.
Yeah. So
he's up and coming. I really like Eli. Like I don't think this is a massive edge. But I do think Day's really good at scheming when you give him extra time.
Yeah, agreed. So give me first half over 23 and a half points. All right, let's keep going through college here. I don't have anything on We Are Penn State for the Peach Bowl. Don't have anything on Maryland.
I have something tomorrow night.
Thursday?
Yeah.
Who you got? Who?
I've got Oklahoma.
Oh, I was going to say that. Yeah, I knew you. How'd I know? Go ahead, talk to him.
I think Jackson Arnold's a stud, man. I think the world's about to find out about how good this kid is given 3 weeks. The only thing that does concern me is obviously Jeff Levy leaving. It's a bit of a concern. They also lost a couple O linemen to the portal out of nowhere. Oregon sniped an O lineman from them. Missouri sniped an O lineman from them, which I think was shocking to OU. Maybe they need to get their NIL together a little bit. But outside of that, man, this Jackson Arnold kid is special. He's like Dylan Gabriel on steroids. I don't understand why they're catching two. Like, I don't really understand this game. This game should be a pick 'em. I just see too much value here. I just don't understand why I'm catching 2.5. I think OU wins outright. This isn't a huge bet. Like if we were doing the confidence scale, this would be somewhere in the middle out of all these Bolts games for me. It's only a single unit bet, but I just like OU on the value money line here. I just think Jackson Arnold is going to prove out to be the best player on this football field. And I think the green dot wearer on the other side, Danny Stutzman, decided to come back for OU. And OU didn't really lose much on defense to the NFL draft. So guys aren't sitting out, and they didn't lose much on defense to the portal. So I think Brent Venables is going to have his defense rolling. And if this just comes down to quarterback play, I'm going to take Jackson Arnold to be special. So, give me OU to win this game.
I like it. I like the over here, even though it's high at 60.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. This is a game I don't really know how to feel the game flow out. I'm not really sure how to feel how that game will go, to be honest with you. Just Jackson Arnold's like, he's like Johnny. I don't want to put the hype out there already, but the dude's like Johnny Manziel. I'm dead serious. Like the dude runs around throwing crazy passes that you're like, seriously? He's cocky. He's good though. Really good for college. I don't know if that play style will work in the NFL. But in college, he's going to be pretty damn good.
Well, no, the only reason why the over is because I do remember hearing about the kid, Jackson Arnold, and you know what I mean, when you get opportunities like that, you want to show out, right? You definitely want to show out. And then, Oklahoma kind of close. It's in, Alamo Dome. This is out in San Antonio, Texas. So, I wouldn't call it a home game, but I expect more Oklahoma folks to be in this stadium than Arizona. So I like the bet. I'm actually going to take the over here. I'm at 59.5. I can see both teams scoring 30. Let me move this line a little bit. Let's see here. A little bit juicy at 56. Definitely kind of maybe 56.5. Yeah, we'll leave it at, I think it's even. I think the number's pretty sharp at 59.5. I won't be a bet right now, but I do lean the over here. I think there'll be some points scored in this game. So like the bet. All right, let's keep it moving through the college run here, and then we'll switch to NFL. I think there was one bet, and I think we got both agreement here. This Georgia team, man, minus 19 against Florida State. I think you said it earlier, and you could take the calm if you want. You say 44, 45 transfer. Starting quarterback out.
Between opt-outs, NFL graduates, 45, 40 plus scholarship players that Florida State relied on this season during the year will not be available for the bowl game. I mean, that's like your roster.
We got the starting quarterback, the backup quarterback, starting receiver, starting best defensive lineman almost in the nation.
Two best receivers and their best tight end. Two best receivers and their best tight end.
Georgia? Give me Georgia minus 19. That's not much more than a handicap.
Carson Beck's coming back to Georgia. He's playing.
Yep,
Obviously, Brock Bowers. I will say this. They haven't said he's not playing, kind of like the Harrison thing, but based on what I've heard, he toughed out an injury down the stretch just to try to get them into the playoff. I've been told he's probably not playing. Like Georgia's been like, kid, you gave us everything you had. Don't feel like you got to play in this game. So I would not expect Brock Bowers to play. But outside of that, and I think outside of their left tackle, which is obviously a big loss, I think that's outside of those two players. But they'll reload at left tackle and they'll reload at tight end. I know that sounds crazy, but they will. I'm not really upset about the Bowers thing. I mean, obviously he helps, but they played without him already. Yeah,
they know how to play without him.
Yeah,
because he's been banged up. So I'm looking at it now. He's not with the team ahead of the bowl. So
no, and Amarius Mims, same thing. I don't think he's going to play.
Right. Now the only issue is this game is in Florida. Give what you want to say for the Orange Bowl, but it is in Miami, Florida. So, this should be a home game for Florida State. But like Sharp said, there's so much distraction too, right? They're suing the ACC right now. They have so many people leaving. Obviously, like you already said, this might be my biggest bet of the week, college and NFL. Give me 3 units.
Remember when Colorado was cooking and playing over their skis, and then Travis Hunter got smoked in the Colorado State game, and then they were limping, and then they had guys out, and they obviously didn't have half their team out, but then they were just limping into Oregon, and the spread was 18.5, and I was like, this spread couldn't be big enough.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like this game. Like this spread could be 27.5, and I'd still be smacking Georgia. I'm dead serious. Like this game has 35-0. At some point, this game is going to be 35-0. I just have a feeling. At some point, this game is going to be 35-0.
I love it, Shark. I'm
with you. This to me is a no-brainer. No brainer here. 10 units. Like this is just perfect spot. This will be my biggest bet of the week. I'm with you. No doubt about it. I am double dipped on Washington, so I'm right there. Washington and Georgia are my 2 biggest plays of the week. I've been on Washington for a while. Georgia, obviously, I was wait and see on kind of how some things played out. And then obviously Florida State, just all the information about Florida State. They lost their best players on sign. Everything's going bad for them. They lost their 2 best players on signing day. Both got flipped to SEC schools. Now they want to go to the SEC. It's just everything's bad. Half their team's sitting out. This is just, again, this is going to be 35-0 at some point. Please stop what you're doing and take Georgia.
Yes, I agree. Whew. All right. Let's keep it moving. I think that's it. No, you actually talked about them, um, but just give a quick preview. Citrus Bowl, Iowa versus Tennessee. Tennessee's favorite -6 total is 35.5. You had a little bit of a take care, not saying you're taking a side, but just because the game is out there. So tell us what you saw in this game where if some folks were looking to bet this game, what would you be looking at?
I actually like Iowa here. It's hard for me to trust Iowa standalone for obvious reasons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a parlay, and I'm going to
Okay.
throw Iowa in it. That way, if it sinks my parlay, it sinks my parlay. I'm not going to be too disappointed. And if it hits, then I'll boost it with some favorites, and they'll help me juice the odds on the parlay. And I'll give you my 4 picks right after this, so that way you kind of just know my bet. But for me, it's pretty simple, man. Tennessee's going with their young kid, right? Joe Milton's not going to play. They're going with their 5-star freshman, Nico Iamaleava. And this is just a brutal matchup. So Kirk Ferentz, everyone can laugh about Iowa's defense all they want, but this team won a ton of games despite that offense because this defense is phenomenal. They put players into the NFL. This defense has multiple draftable players, especially on the back end. The one thing I will say is Cooper DeJean, they're all-world cornerback safeties out, unlikely to play in this game, and he was their all-world player. I mean, he was their punt returner. He did everything. He had multiple pick sixes this year. So without him, it is a little different. That's why I don't like him as a standalone bet per se. I'm going to throw it in a money line bet. But I just think Nico Iamaleava, anyone that's played quarterback out there, this team, no team in college rotates coverage post-snap like Iowa and successfully does it. Most college teams can't do it because they bust coverage with communication breakdowns. Kirk Ferentz is a mastermind when it comes to coaching up corners. He's just like Bill Belichick for college. They're best friends or really close friends, I should say. I don't know about best friends, but really close friends. Their schemes are so similar. They'll give you 15 different looks post-snap. And if you're a true freshman, just trying to get the play in, just trying to look at you already know in the headset they're going to be saying, just look at your first read, just look at your first read. Well, they're going to be taken away. They're going to act like that first read's there pre-snap. And then post-snap, that first read's not going to be there. And they're going to force Nico into doing something different. And I could just see this game being super helter-skelter. And that just plays into Iowa State's hands. I could see Tennessee having 3 or 4 turnovers. And despite Tennessee moving the ball up and down the field, Iowa being the team that scores a little bit more and actually wins the game. So I'm going to be taking Iowa in a 14 parlay with Washington. I'm going to be taking 2 underdogs there. And then I'm going to be pairing them with 2 big favorites with the 49ers and the Georgia Bulldogs. And that actually pays 8-1, believe it or not, putting the 2 underdogs together. So for me, that's just great value. I think Iowa has a real good chance to win. I think Washington Huskies have a real good chance to win. And obviously, I think the Niners off a humiliating loss are going to embarrass Washington. And then obviously, we spoke about what's going to happen with Georgia. So that's my bet. I'm going to do a 4-way parlay, money line parlay. That way you don't have to worry about the spread. If it loses, it loses, but 1 unit to win 8, sign me up for that.
What's the bet again? So I'll throw it out there.
Iowa, money line.
Okay.
Washington Huskies, money line.
Let's bring it up. I think it was up top here. Okay.
Georgia Bulldogs, money line.
What are you like -3,000?
It's like 1,200, I think. It's
-1,000. Yeah.
That's actually better on that one. It's 1,200 on DraftKings. So this might be better payout on yours. And then San Francisco 49ers.
Okay. The Niners. Yeah, good.
On DraftKings it was plus 815.
Plus 847, almost
There
8.5.
850, so 8.5 to 1. 1 unit bet to win 8.5. Like I said, I'm not going to put Iowa standalone because you can't trust them totally, but I like the other 3 bets standalone. And so just throw in Iowa as kind of that live dog, which I think has a real chance.
I would actually put Georgia in here straight.
With the spread, get a little more juice.
Yeah. I think I think this jumps up to almost minus like 15. Yeah, bang, right there on it. 15-1.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
15.43.
I like that value
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. I like. I just Georgia's just gonna just
Yeah,
roll
no, I'm with
over
you. Like
Florida State.
that's pretty good swap out actually, for sure.
Yeah,
And I
I
like
like this
that
bet.
swap out more than the NFL one because obviously I think the Niners beat the brakes off them, but an NFL spread is a 14-point
Yeah,
NFL spread is just much different than an 18-point college spread. Everyone knows that.
correct. I agree. I like that part. That's a good part
No,
of
I
it.
actually like that. Yeah, 15-1. That's quite the. That's pretty crazy when you think about it. That they're adding that much boost to just swapping out money line to
Yeah,
the spread.
yeah. Absolutely. All right, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed all the college football bets, bowl game bets. Make sure, if you can, comment down below, and put in MoneyPot Betting in the comments here, man. Let us know if you like these college bets. Let us know if you don't like the college bets. You know, we take all comments and take all likes and subs and everything like that. I think we're almost under 10 from 1,000, right? Under 10 from 1,000 subs. So we're getting there. So if you're just seeing this for the first time,
Help us
you're
get
a
there
new
by the new year.
watcher.
Come on.
Let's get there by exactly. Let's get there by the new year. Let's walk into the new year with over 1,000, and then we'll just keep running it up from there. And if you're still waiting, don't worry. We will get to the college football playoffs. Got to switch it up a little bit, make you wait just a little bit longer because we got to go to NFL. And we have a Saturday game. The Detroit Lions versus the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is favored -6. Total is I'm sorry. Total is 53.5. Money line is -260. Line is definitely very inflated. Dallas coming off a loss, I believe, and just the split of Dallas at home versus Dallas away is pretty insane in terms of their numbers. And I get this, but you got an 11-4 Detroit team, almost a touchdown dog. Now, I do lean Detroit here, but with this total, tells me there's going to be points scored in this game. And I don't think that the Detroit Lions are not going to score over 20 points. So I'm going to Old Faithful. He's been doing it all year. I think he's almost 4th or 5th in receiving yards. Give me St. Brown over 79.5 yards receiving. They're going to just throw in all game. This team is built to beat Dallas, to be honest. This should be a track meet in terms of the total. I would lean probably over and the 53.5. So I do think Detroit's going to be able to score on that Dallas defense. Michael Parsons right now, I believe, is even money to win Defensive Player of the Year. So that does not surprise me. I think Dallas is going to be ready for this game. I just think it's too many points. I think it's the biggest total of the week across all games for week 17. Yeah, is it week 17? Yeah, week 17. But give me St. Brown. I didn't think St. Brown was that good, but man, was I wrong on that. He's a fucking beast. He's small. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me a lot of Golden Tate. He reminds me a lot
There's
of
some
Golden
similar. I
Tate.
think he's better than Golden Tate, to be honest.
He is better than Golden Tate, but just that you can put him in anywhere, X, Y, Z, doesn't matter where you put him on the field. He's a great route runner and he's a tough receiver. He gets hit, he keeps going, he gets banged up. Like I like the way he plays the game, and Goff looks for him. I think Laporta has a good game too. I think they'll have some success running the ball.
He reminds me of Anquan Bolden.
He's not as big as Bolden though. Like Bolden was kind of a little bit
not as
bigger.
tall, but he's jacked, dude. St. Brown is.
Yeah,
jacked.
Bolden was jacked too, bro. Bolden was
I know, but I'm saying like they're just that they live over the middle, and like they take that hit, and like
they like it too.
Yeah, like they get hit
Yeah.
and then they kind of just keep going for that extra 4 yards instead of just going down. It's like, damn, this
Yeah.
dude's a tank.
Yeah, no, he is. He is. He's every bit of it. So, yeah, give me St. Brown over 79.5 yards for my Saturday best bet, Detroit versus the Cowboys. I do lean. I thought this was a little bit of a soft bet here. Golf over 1.5 touchdowns makes a lot of sense. The only thing here is that Detroit has 2 dogs at running back.
And
They
Dallas
really
is
do.
bad at run defense.
Exactly. So it wouldn't surprise me. Gibbs has been kind of coming on pretty strong as of late. So it wouldn't surprise me if you see a Gibbs touchdown here. If you see a Montgomery touchdown here. Sorry, I'm not doing the 20 leg parlay of anytime touchdown that guy did. He $5. Good for him, right? Good for him. $5 to win $500,000. Can't be mad at it.
That's the dream
It's the
bet,
dream.
man.
Yeah, it's the dream bet.
You could be building them your whole life every week to hit one of those.
Yeah, like I get it. I get the love of it. I get people who bet it. Typically, we don't bet that many parlays on the show. We do it for fun. They are lottery scratchy tickets. I won't lie to you. That was a lottery scratchy ticket. You know, who knows what the odds were for him to hit that, but he hit it, so it doesn't really fucking matter. Good for him.
Yep.
Good for him, and good luck with Uncle Sam knocking on the door, taking some taxes away. Taking at least $100,000 away in taxes, at least.
Yeah.
$100,000, and that's being generous with that. But yeah.
The worst part of that about it too is you hit on the last week of the year, so that tax bill's coming about as soon as possible.
Oh yeah, easy.
That tax bill's coming immediately.
If it was $500,000, I would think Uncle Sam would want about, I want to say 175, not 2, but close in terms of taxes. Obviously, where his bracket is, but Uncle Sam's coming to collect for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can have it taken out right then and there. It's kind of like at a capital gains.
It'd be smart. It'd be smart too.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, it'd be smart. Just pay it. You won $5 bet. I want to do one, but it's just that guy's probably been betting that same bet for probably 10, 15 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you guys got to understand.
It's usually people that hit the Mega Millions and Powerball. They're usually the people that play it every week, right?
Yeah, you got to play to win, but you got to play to win. So
agreed.
That is what it is. Let me know if you got any bets on any games that I'm passing here. There, Sharp. I don't have anything on this Buffalo New England game. I don't have anything on this Rams Giants game. Tyrod is getting the start. That's all I have for that. They are sitting down DeVito, which is interesting, I thought, because you would think that they would be in full draft mode here. Putting Tyrod in tells me that they're still trying to win a little bit here. They're still trying to compete. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, even though I'm surprised his lines come down. The reverse line movement's been shocking to me. So the look ahead line was 6.
Yeah.
And then it reopened. And then it reopened at 6.5, and it's actually come down to 5.5, and I'm not sure why. I guess it's just the Tyrod Taylor, I guess probably thinking that he stabilizes the team a little better.
He does.
But, dude, the Rams are playing really good football right now. And I just, the Giants like to blitz a lot. Matt Stafford's just not the dude to be blitzing.
No, he's not. He's definitely not. I mean, I think you said this, was it last week or maybe even the week before that? The Rams are better than what we thought.
Oh, I came to that realization 6 weeks ago. I was like, oh, shit, I was way wrong on this team. This team is legit. I thought they were going to be one of the worst teams in the league and, resetting their team. But and that's why when people are always asking me, I'm always willing to reset my QB rankings and take new information. And like, if you don't have Matt Stafford as a top 5 QB in the NFL, you're crazy, in my opinion. Like, you're just crazy. Like, you're just riding emotion. You're riding new kids and new waves. And I mean, the dude carried Detroit forever. Then he gets traded to the Rams. He can win with a great coach in McVay. Now they had to reset their roster, and he's elevating young kids to be better. Like, the dude has proven now 3 different ways that he can be an elite quarterback. Like, if you're not thinking, like, in your mind, like how I'm now handicapping teams, like Matt Stafford is a bona fide top 5 quarterback in the league. You can't dispute it. Year in and year out, he's just a monster. And Sean McVay's a top 3 coach. Like, if you've got guys like Kyle Shanahan and even a Sean Payton or a Mike Tomlin or a Jim or John Harbaugh over him just because they're a little older and more established, like, I don't think that's fair. And Kyle Shanahan's definitely not better than him. Like, to me, Sean McVay is up there with the best of the best, man. I mean, that dude, not only is he a good game planner, but he's a good motivator. And that's hard to be 2 things at once, right? John Harbaugh is a great motivator, but he's a special teams guy. He doesn't scheme either side of the ball. Sean McVay schemes one side of the ball, and he's a good motivator. So I was so wrong on that team. I'm never going to doubt Matt Stafford again. I'm never going to doubt Sean McVay again. To me, those are just locks to be Hall of Famers at what they do. Just hats off, man.
I don't know, because remember, he almost retired.
Well, I'm saying if McVay retires, he hasn't maybe earned it. But in my mind, McVay's earned the right to, like, when I handicap the Rams, like, I'm going to give that slight edge to McVay almost against anybody now. Like, unless maybe it's Reed, it's heads up. But against any other coach, I'm just going to take McVay. So I actually lean the Rams here, and I don't really get the reverse line movement here. Like, I thought it would go to 7, so the fact it's come down to 5 is a little odd to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there is the old, the old key or the old, kind of old gambling trick, West Coast traveling east. It is a 1:00 game. So that I would think that would take effect
and Cup took a shot to his shoulder. And after that, he was relatively ineffective. So maybe he's hurt. I haven't followed up too much on that. I haven't pulled the trigger on the Rams yet.
I mean, the only thing I would be looking here at this Rams Giants game, if I was betting it, I didn't even look at it because I wasn't going to bet anything. It's Puka. I do think Cup is still their number 1, but I would be looking at Puka Nacua over his yards. BYU, 5th.
What's Cup? Scroll down a little bit more. Where do they got them together? What's Cup's a little higher? Yeah,
about even.
Oh no,
it's close, 70. About a yard.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's interesting though.
But I mean, in the most part, if you think about it, when they played together, Puka has outgained Cup. And I've always been when Cup's healthy, that's hard to argue he's not the best receiver in the game. Now I know what Tyreek does. I know what a lot of people do. But,
Tyreek,
I don't
but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, from after this year, you could probably say Tyreek is the best, but I didn't know Tyreek had this in him, right? I didn't know Tyreek.
Tyreek just tilts coverage with his speed, and that's just something that's hard to teach. You can't. You just can't teach it.
Yeah, right, and I respect Tyreek all the way, and everything he gets, he should be. But I mean, what Cup did. What was it last year? Was it last year that he had that? He had like 1,800 yards? What was his most?
Oh, he he had 19. I thought he had 1,900.
Did he have 19?
Yeah, he was just short of Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, like it's like and I want to say this in the most respectful way. What does Cup do that's, like you said, like that's not taught? I mean, his route running is immaculate, right? He has a Hall of Fame coach and he has a Hall of Fame quarterback. So obviously that helps. But when you build a receiver and you build a player, like what does Cup have that you would take and put it in? And I'm not sure what that is.
So here's my thing with Kupp. If you're talking slot receiver, he's probably the perfect build for slot receiver. He's 6'2". He's not little. He's not your Julian Edelman 5'10", but he's just as twitchy as those guys. He's 6'2", 218 pounds, 215 pounds. So he's tough to tackle after he catches the ball. That's a plus. And he's a big slot, so he can block. So I will say, now, if you're talking about best receivers of all time, in my mind, you're talking about outside receivers, not slot receivers, right? You're talking You're talking about X's and flankers who can beat press coverage. That's not really Cooper. So, and which is what you've seen this year, right? When Cooper and Puka are in the game together, it's actually Kupp that plays more of flanker slot, and it's actually Nakua that's playing boundary X. So that just kind of goes to show you the two skill sets between those two guys. Sean McVay trusts Puka to be on the outside one-on-one with some more elite corners than actually Kupp. Kupp's more inside, seeing a little bit more zone bracket coverage, which he's unbelievable at finding that soft spot. But I just want to point out the fact that it's Matt Stafford throwing to Calvin Johnson, it's Matt Stafford throwing to Puka Nakua, and it's Matt Stafford throwing to Cooper Kupp. Matt Stafford's the fucking truth. And anyone that doubts that dude, like, that dude is the truth.
Let me ask you a question. This is a funny question to ask. Because I didn't know the receiver. I didn't even know his college stats in Eastern Washington. And I just looked him up. He went in the third round, right? Now listen to these numbers. 1,600 yards, 1,700 yards, 21 touchdowns. 1,400 yards, 16 touchdowns. 1,600 yards, 19 touchdowns. 1,700 yards, 17 touchdowns. He's a college football all-division career leader in receiving yards.
Yep.
Let me ask you this. If he was black, would he win in the first round?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Right. The fact that he's white, did that drop him to the third round? It had to be.
No doubt.
So crazy.
No doubt. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen to Cooper. It's gonna happen to Cooper DeJean this draft, bro. The dude's probably the top corner in the draft, but he's white.
That's so funny.
So people are gonna be like, man, I don't know. He's probably a safety.
But he ran a 4.6 though. That's pretty slow for a receiver.
Which verifies kind of what people think. But again, he's a slot receiver. He's the perfect slot receiver. He's a huge slot receiver, right?
Yeah.
He
only had a 31-inch vertical. My vertical was 35.
He's not super athletic. He's
not an athletic guy.
He's really good at contested catches. He's super strong and he's really smart. And he's got Matt Stafford throwing him the ball and he's got Sean McVay scheming him open. I mean, he's just the shit. Like, I'm a big Cooper Kupp fan. So am I.
Yeah, I'm a big
football is scheme, right? Like if he was the Bears' number one receiver playing X, he wouldn't be the same guy. I think a lot of times people get caught up in the player, and a lot of times it's the scheme.
That's funny. That's real.
But you're totally right. Cooper Kupp was a monster in college, and if he was black, he probably goes round one.
That's hilarious. All right, let's keep it moving, man. I do have a pick for this Tampa game. The Saints versus Tampa Bay. Tampa is favorite -2.5. Total is 42.5. And oh man, they win and they get in. I mean, it's really, they win and they get in for Tampa. And it's hard for me not to bet them. The money line looks like it came down a little bit. I'm assuming there's something like this. I don't know if it's sharp money.
It is.
I don't know. Is it just sharp money coming on the Saints?
Yeah.
Did they split already? Like, did the Saints win?
The Saints just always tend to own this matchup, right? That's really all this has ever been about. But man, this is just a perfect spot. At 3, I didn't like the Bucs because I just think this is a field goal game. But now that it's come down to 2.5, you got to take the Bucs here, man. Baker Mayfield's rolling. Derek Carr is not rolling. I don't even think the team likes Derek Carr. I've said that now for a month. I don't think the team, I don't think the young kids on the team like Derek Carr. And I think the team likes Baker Mayfield, and that to me is going to be the difference. You got one team that's going to rally around their quarterback, and one team that's probably waiting on the postseason or the offseason. At 2.5.
They're outside. They're outside looking in. They're not out of it. I mean, Chris Oberle has an ankle injury, so I'm not sure if he's going to play. If he gets, he's not worth a point, but the line will definitely tick up to 3. But the fact that this is at 2.5 at home, a little bit scared for me. That's what I mean? I like Tampa here. I really do. Like you said, they're playing extremely well. They won 4 in a row.
Yeah. This is a no-brainer. I just confirmed. It's confirmed. Marshawn Lattimore's not playing. He's the one guy that gets in Mike Evans' face, and he's the one guy that's always locked Mike Evans up. He's not playing in this game, so you're telling me no, there's no Mike Evans stopper either, bro. This is the Bucs. Don't overthink it. This is the Bucs. Don't doubt yourself like last week. This is the Bucs. The Bucs are going to win. It'll probably be a walk-off field goal. I'm not saying this is going to be a no-sweat game. It'll probably be back and forth, 20-20 late. Baker Mayfield's going to get it done for us and probably win 23-20. I love that this line's sitting at 2.5. At 3, to me, it was a no bet. At 2.5, you got to take the Bucs. It's win and you get in. It doesn't get any better than this. You're at home.
Yeah, like it's win and you get in.
It's not like you're on the road. You're at home. The one player that's always given your team problems is now not playing. Like, this is the Bucs. Just believe in the Bucs. This is the Bucs.
This is the Bucs. The Bucs stops here, as they say.
Yep. For me, it's a 3-unit bet, 2.5.
Yeah, put me down for Tampa. And now remember, you guys, because I will be dropping this video maybe a day later, just because it's getting late. These are lines now. Tomorrow, these lines might shift. Yeah, it might be a little bit different. So just be careful.
I mean, it's already Bucs 115, so it's trending back to the 3 right there.
Yeah. So just be sure you guys are, making sure that you guys are being careful at the lines. These are lines right now. So if you're watching the show and you're watching the lines, you like the bet, don't be like Moss Money and wait. Put the bet in now, because I've looked at a bet, I've had it down, and come on live on the show, and the bet's completely changed, and I'm fucked. So make sure you guys are betting what we're talking about right now so you can get the best side of the line. I like the bet for the Saints versus Tampa. I missed out last week. It was an easy bet, but, it is what it is. All right. Let's talk about them. Your Philadelphia Eagles versus the Arizona Cardinals. Philadelphia is favored by double digits. Again, minus 10.5. The Gannon game, as they call it, I guess. The Gannon Bowl, if it's even a big deal or not. We said this last week. He has this Arizona team still playing somewhat.
He's a good coach.
A little bit. I think he's a better coach than what people gave him credit for. And just the way that the Eagles are playing, the get-right game was against the Giants. Kind of, I guess, maybe. Just because the Giants were so bad. But it is a division game, so I get why that game was a little bit closer. Obviously, they made a quarterback change. That changes game flow via the game. I was at the game, so yeah, I don't have anything on this game. There's obviously something wrong with the Eagles. The Eagles win the game, and every player said that they're not happy, right? They win the game, and every single player said, we're not happy. We don't like the way that this game happened. This game the outcome of this game, the way the game was played. That game was way closer than it should have been. A lot of dumbass mistakes, right? On the kickoff, players run into each other. Jalen still staring down receivers. Very predictable type offense. The crowd was literally chanting, run the ball. Don't know if that came on TV, but the crowd was chanting, run the ball. No bullshit. I don't have a side on this game. For me, Holy shit, 29? I'm not sure if they scored 29 points on the Cardinals. I would lean Arizona, to be honest. I think this is too many points. I'm not sure if this defensive line is ready for Kyler Murray and his speed. We can't even get home as it is now. We have problems with the tight end. So McBride.
Yeah,
looks,
McBride's props aren't up on DraftKings. Can you pull up McBride's prop on ESPN?
Let's see.
They're
Nope.
not up yet on DraftKings.
They're not up yet. They're not up yet.
I
So
agree
McBride-
with McBride. We cannot stop good tight ends. And
Nope.
McBride actually leads him and Hollywood Brown get the same target shares. So they look for McBride a lot. We struggle to cover athletic tight ends. I'm right there with you on that one. That's going to be a good bet.
I'm just looking back. They gave up 25 to the Giants. They gave up 20 to the Seahawks, 33 to Cowboys, 42 to the Niners, 34 to the Bills, 17 to the Chiefs, 28 to the Cowboys again, 31 to the Commanders, 17 to the Dolphins. And we're talking about 7-8 games. They're giving up at least 17 points in every game, going almost 9 games back. And what is the Cardinals, 17.5? Oh, man. Kind of like this over here, bro. I'm kind of on the Cardinals here.
I lean the Cardinals for sure. That 11 points seems like a lot for Kyler Murray and James Conner.
Yeah, and they know how big this game is for Gannon. Obviously, a lot of shit talking came away from, and given so, right? You're the biggest game of the year, and you're worried about your head coaching, right? For Gannon.
Yeah, that's the one thing. How he handled Super Bowl week and already trying to get some early interviews in with the Arizona Cardinals. You just don't do that shit.
Yeah.
He's a good coach, but how he wanted to leave the Eagles, he fucked the Eagles over because we had Vic Fangio in house, and then they thought they were going to retain Gannon, and then he backdoor takes a deal, and then they lose Vic Fangio to the Dolphins, and it leaves the Eagles with their pants down, and they got to promote Sean Desai, who runs Fangio but isn't very good. And so here we are. So, yeah, Gannon basically cost the Eagles Vic Fangio. I don't know if most Eagles fans know that, but Vic Fangio was a consultant with the Eagles last year. They were going to promote him with the thought process Jonathan Gannon was going to get a job. The week of the Super Bowl, Jonathan Gannon told Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman to their face, I'm going to stick it out next year and wait for better job opportunities. Then the week of the Super Bowl, that motherfucker is interviewing with the Cardinals, and they make him an offer he can't refuse this. And that's kind of why the tampering thing happened and why we got that extra third-round pick that just randomly happened. That was actually because of the shit Jonathan Gannon was pulling the week of the Super Bowl. He was distracted. He had no game plan, and it's because he was actually interviewing with the Cardinals. So my only hesitation why I am a lean and not pulling the trigger on the Cardinals is because I could see Jeffrey Lurie, in everyone's ass this week. You better blow this fucking team out. And he might be in Sirianni, he might be calling Sirianni up to his office, letting him know he wants to humiliate Jonathan Gannon. So I could see Nick Sirianni actually being under a little fire from the front office this week, just to make sure the guys are ready, if that makes sense.
It does. Give me the Cardinals over 17.5.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. We haven't been buttoned up all year. I'm with you.
Give me the Cardinals over 17.5. This defense is not right. I thought the Giants game was a get-right game. And now you bring in a more kind of potent with a little bit more explosive offense here. You got Murray. You got Hollywood. I wouldn't say McBride. I'm sorry, McBride.
Yeah, Trey McBride.
The offensive, explosion from a tight end. But he's an athletic tight end that's going to give us trouble. Connor's slow but durable. He'll get some tough yards.
Yeah.
But I think that those three on offense is going to give us trouble. And I like them to score at least probably 20 points. Even at halftime against the Giants, right? At halftime against the Giants, it was 20-3. And they still scored 25 points. With nobody. Like there's no like Barkley is, but like Barkley had a couple plays, but there's nobody explosive on that offense and the Giants. So give me over 17.5. I think Arizona has some success moving the ball here.
Like that
no weather affecting this one. So.
I will be on Trey McBride whenever that prop drops. I'm curious to see what the line is. I'm hoping for like a 47.5.
I was going to say 50. I was going to say probably 49.5, somewhere around 50.
That
makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. All right. I'm not on Atlanta or Chicago. I'm not sure you are. Here we go. Let's bring it back, man. We had talked about this in the chat. Dolphins versus Ravens. Ravens coming off an all-time win against the 49ers. This is a classic letdown spot for me here. I like the Dolphins here. I like the Dolphins plus the points. I'm waiting to understand if Waddle's going to play because I think he's been said to have a high ankle sprain. Now, can they win with just Tyreek? I think they can. I think another key injury here is Hamilton, the safety, standout safety from Notre Dame for Baltimore. I think it's a very big deal for the Baltimore Ravens. So the one thing that I don't like is that now the Ravens are failing themselves, as they should. There was a lot of talk about them being underdogs, a lot of talk about San Francisco. They kept their mouth shut. They went and handled business. But now they're like feeling themselves. They're talking a little bit more. McQueen came out, said enough with all this cute bullshit. We just hit people in the mouth. I don't know where McQueen era is in, but Baltimore's always been like that. There ain't nothing new about Baltimore type football. That's the type of players that they draft. I think it was kind of skewed at the end of that game that they took out their linemen and Clowney started to get off a little bit there. I think CMC has some success in that game. Kittle obviously has some success in that game. So to me, this defense can be had. The problem was Purdy, right? He did turnovers. Now a couple tip balls, things like that, but it's still a problem. And I think with Miami, I think that they're going to look at this game, and I think they're going to be able to have some success. I'm on Miami. I'm just waiting to understand where this line is going to go because I think if Waddle's out but Hamilton plays, I think this line goes to 4. If they're both out, I think maybe drops down to 3, but maybe stays at 3. Baltimore should be favored by 3. Let's not get it twisted. Baltimore should be favored in this game, and they're respectfully so. I just think that Miami wins this game. Now that goes into another whole thing that we talked about last week with Lamar and San Fran, and that was the future MVP odds. And with that being said, if you liked Baltimore to beat San Fran, then you had to like Lamar to win the MVP because that was an MVP moment. And that's already come to fruition. I'll link that video up top to let you know what the take was. But it was an MVP type game, and I said whoever wins this game is likely going to win the MVP. Now, MVP awards have been a crapshoot because it's all a cluster of everybody in the same boat saying if they win this game, then they're likely to win MVP. So let me say it again. If Tua wins this game, he's likely to win MVP. Right now, Tua is 10-1 to win the MVP. And I like Miami. And I think with Buffalo. With Buffalo left on Miami's schedule. If Miami wins out, Because I think that game in Miami. I think that game is in
It's
Miami.
in Miami. Yep. They've
Yeah,
already
it's in
played the
Miami.
Buffalo game.
Okay. So if Tua wins out, I think Tua has a strong case to win MVP because I think he's at 4,200 yards. One of these games is going to be a big game. So he'll probably go ahead.
If Miami wins this game, Tua will be like plus 300 next week. Like if Miami wins this game, it'll literally be plus 300, plus 300, plus 300 basically.
I think it'd be less.
Tua, Lamar, and Christian McCaffrey, they'll all be about the same.
I think it'd be less. I think Tua will be almost plus 175.
That's fine. So maybe even the slight favorite. What I'm saying, regardless, is this is your last chance all year to catch Tua Tagovailoa at 10-1 for MVP.
Correct.
If they lose this game, then obviously he's going to be done for the year and won't win it. But if Miami wins this game, he's in the driver's seat essentially, or it's going to come down to him, Allen, and McCaffrey, and you're getting way better odds, like you're saying, 10-1 than you would be to take Miami money line this week. So I'm right there with you. We talked about it in the chat, man. This is a great bet that you're speaking about here, and you're putting our listeners on to. You talked about it last week with Lamar. If you like the underdog here, or even if you just like betting value and you just like futures, take Tua Tagovailoa at 10-1 right now.
And a lot riding on this game. Baltimore can clinch the AFC title with a win.
Yep.
They can also clinch the number 1 seed and first bye, home field advantage with a win. Miami can clinch the AFC East division title with a win. So, huge playoff feel for this game.
100%.
I just like Miami's chances here. I think Baltimore's feeling themselves. I think Miami's going to be ready for this game. Give me the Dolphins at plus 3.5. I already have a bet with Tua to win MVP, so I'm kind of biased. I have him at 7-1 already, but I'll put half a unit just to double up. Give me 10-1 on Tua to win MVP.
Yeah, I'm putting a little 1 unit on Tua at 10-1. And I will say I'm torn on the game itself as far as the line goes. Like, I'm not going to touch Miami money line for obvious reasons. I just said why.
I like the points. I'll take the points. I'm not going to touch the money line.
And if you're taking money line, then you just take Tua and the value in his MVP on the win. That's more value than the value on money line. That being said, I'm torn on the spread because part of me thinks that the public perception will push this line to 4. And then part of me thinks that the sharps won't let it get to 4, meaning like maybe for a half millisecond, the line hits 4, and then some sharp group out there realizes it hits 4, bets it heavy, and it instantly drops back down to 3.5. So I kind of feel like the line's going to stay where it is, but I've locked in on Tua 10-1, and I'm willing to wait it out and see if it gets to 4 on the spread.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I like Tua here, man.
This feels like a game where the average Joe will be betting the Ravens off of what they saw last week, and sharp money will be on Miami.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good letdown spot for Baltimore. I think they won 5 or 6 straight.
Yeah, and you said it perfectly. Like the Niners didn't play bad. I think their game plan was a little off. I think they should have went into the game trying to focus on Christian McCaffrey. Why they put the ball into Brock Purdy's hands. It's almost like Kyle Shanahan wanted to prove how good Brock Purdy was on the national stage instead of just doing what they normally do, which is run, play action off that. He got a little bit out of character with his game plan, and he kind of like tried to focus on Purdy drop back throwing, and that to me just was a little goofy. And then Purdy had a terrible game on top of it, and you nailed it. Like, when you go back and watch that tape, the Niners had guys open. The Ravens were sitting there talking around like they pushed people around, and I didn't really see that, to be honest. I just saw one QB that just had a randomly horrible game, and it actually happens to every QB. Go look at any QB that's ever played. They're going to have 1 or 2 games every 20 games that's just like, damn, what the hell were they doing? That was this game for them. We saw it with Hurts this year. Hurts game versus the Jets was like, dude, is this guy good? He didn't even look like he knew what the hell he was doing versus the Jets. Purdy didn't look like he was knew what he was doing. And the likelihood that they're going to catch Tua having one of his worst games of his career this week is slim to none.
Back to back? Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
slim
not
to
happening.
none.
And not even that. I mean, Hamilton had 2 picks. I mean, they
Yep.
had 4. They had 4 picks. Like the ball bounced Ravens' way in every opportunity. Every 50-50 time, it bounced the Ravens' way. I don't think that happens again. I don't think Lamar plays as well as he did, against San Fran either. Again, like I said, man, I'm on Miami plus the points, and then double dipping in my Tua future there.
I'm right there with you. We see it the same way.
10-1.
And absolutely, yeah, we see it the same way. And just one last thing. It's not going to be a bad weather game. So anyone out there thinking, oh, Miami traveling up
65.
north, it's mild. It's going to be 50 degrees at kickoff. It's another mild.
Oh, yeah, it's in Baltimore. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's another mild weather East Coast weekend. No rain, 50 degrees, low wind. It's going to be primed for offense.
Is that grass in Baltimore?
Grass in Baltimore.
Yep. Yeah. I like it. All right, let's keep trucking through. I know you had said something about the Niners game. Probably a good bounce back spot. Brissett is getting the start for the Commanders. I don't know if you have anything on this game. We'll just keep it moving.
Yeah, I just decided to put them in the money line parlay, like we talked about.
Oh yeah. That's right.
I just decided to throw them money line just because, and I liked your swapping out Georgia money line for the spread because, like we talked, just big spreads in NFL is a little different. But I do expect the Niners to play pissed off.
Yeah, I agree here. I think he already has the rushing title. I think with Purdy being out, if you follow Shanahan's vibe, I think a good prop bet maybe here would be McCaffrey to score 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Possibly to give, I think he's at. Does he have the record for most touchdown score? I know he's over like 23, 24 touchdowns, but
I don't think he's at the record yet. I can't. Marshall Faulk had one year where he was way up there too.
Was it Marshall or was it Tomlinson?
Tomlinson might have broken it. Broken it. Those two have, it's up there.
Let me see. Most touchdowns in
all-purpose
NFL regular.
Is it like 26?
I want to say it's somewhere close in there. Yeah, it's a LaDainian. 31.
31, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd catch that.
Nah. Mostert's got 21 this season. He's actually leading the NFL.
Yeah, and he's 10 away.
LaDainian had a crazy season. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Marshall Faulk had that crazy. I mean, LaDainian and Faulk were just like Christian McCaffrey. They were just a little more durable.
Yeah, Marshall had 26. I remember that. Sean Alexander had 27 that one year. He was a fucking monster.
I think Sean Alexander had that one Monday Night Football game where I think he had 6.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He went crazy.
All right, let's keep it moving through the list here of games. Thank you all for just keeping with us, man. Because I mean, every bet I love. I don't think there's a bet that I don't really like. Maybe the Ohio State Missouri game a little bit is but other than that, everything else I completely love. What we're talking here. We talked about the Niners, Washington, Raiders with a surprising win in Arrowhead, right? To keep their hopes alive. I don't have a take on this game. After that win, I would have to lean Raiders because they got to believe that they still got something left. I think they're 11th out. They're 7-8. They need this win here. But I don't have, I'm not betting, Connell and the Raiders. So
no,
that's a pass.
That to me seems like a sharp spread, I guess. I don't know. Like a half. I lean the Raiders by a half point, but hell, I'm not. I can't bet.
Yeah, I'm not
touching the Raiders on a half point.
And you talked about these guys earlier, man. Well, not these guys, but you talked about What's his damn? I need to practice.
Bryce Young.
Understand? Yeah, Bryce Young. Yeah, my names. Um, 6.5 seems like a lot because I don't. I mean, let me double check. I don't think Lawrence is playing.
The look ahead was 7.
He's worth more than a point.
Yeah, I would agree.
He's definitely worth almost maybe 2. Um, looks like last thing he feels better, but he's still limited. It is his shoulder, AC joint. It's tough to back. It's tough to back Carolina here. I mean, the Jags need this in the worst way.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, they're still leading that division, though. In terms of the standing, they need to win. They need an Indiana loss and a Houston loss to clinch the playoff berth. So, man, I don't know what to even think here with this. And then you mess up, draft picks. Well, it doesn't matter, right? Carolina, because your first draft pick is
it
going to the
does.
Bears.
It still matters for the rest of the draft, like second round, third round. You still pick at the top of the.
Yeah, that's true. I just feel if is it CJ Beathard? Is that the backup?
CJ Beathard's the backup for
The backup.
Trevor Lawrence, correct?
Yeah. So how the fuck I get his guy's name right, and I don't get fucking Bryce. I don't remember Bryce Young's name. Yeah, I don't have a bet here, man. But I would probably lean. I would lean Carolina.
I would too. I would too.
I would.
If I know for a fact it's CJ Beathard versus Bryce Young, I'm taking Bryce Young in 6.5.
Yeah, I would lean Carolina here. You think Doug's in a hot seat if he loses this season, if they don't make the playoffs?
No, because I think I think they were playing well, and then Lawrence had that freak injury, and then the season just kind of went off the cliff because they're based on Lawrence. So
yeah,
if next season also was a disappointment, then I could see him getting fired. But one good year, and then when you kind of have one fluke injury to your star quarterback, and the season finishes poorly, your division's better than everyone thought. Yeah, he's probably he wouldn't be on the hot seat, but heading into next year, he would be on the hot seat, if that makes sense.
for sure. Yeah, that does make sense. All right. Let's keep it moving. I know you have that future with Seattle, so you need this win. Are you on this Pittsburgh-Seattle game?
I'm not going to bet it. It was kind of like last week. I wish I would have bet it. Last week, I did put the one unit early on in the week when it was 2.5 because I didn't want it to get to 3 because I thought it was going to be Malik Willis starting, and then it was Tannehill. And then it got to 3.5 anyway, and luckily we got the 2.5 early, so I was actually on the right side with Seattle there. I don't have a feeling in this game. At 3.5, I would lean Seattle. I just think Pittsburgh's terrible. I think they're reeling. They're just headed in the wrong direction. I'm not sure what's going on with Mike Tomlin. If he's trying to lose, they seem like a team that's not trying to win. I don't know what is going on with Pittsburgh. I've never seen them free fall quite like this. They're still 8-7 though. They're not like a 3-win team. You still got to respect them.
They're not out of it yet.
No, right? I know. That's what I'm saying. They're not dead. Yeah. So it's just like it's hard to know. Like they're heading in the wrong direction, but they're not dead. So maybe they latch on for dear life, and this could be the week. It's another one that stay away. I'm so pot committed on Seattle. I need this game badly.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't have a bet here either. And Denver, oh man, I just read a thing before we went online here on live, man, that it's looking like they're going to really release Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
which is insane.
Yeah. He's not tradable, so you're going to have to release him.
They're going to release him. It looks like the story that came out of Denver was they approached him 2 weeks ago about restructuring his contract to give them financial flexibility. He declined. There was a dispute, and now they're at where they're at.
I think it was October 31st, but yeah, you're right.
Let me ask you this. And before this year coming in, it didn't look like so many teams needed a a quarterback, but now you got a. I don't. Did Russ ever win an NFL MVP? I know he won a Super Bowl MVP. I don't think he.
No, never
NFL
won an
MVP.
NFL MVP.
Yeah, but you get a starting quarterback who's probably obviously on the tail end of his prime, released, and he's out there free range to go anywhere he wants. Let me ask you this: where does it make sense for Russell Wilson to end up? If he's released, obviously, which is looking like that is the case. But where does it make sense for Russ to go?
I would have to say the team that misses in the draft. So I don't think it would be a free-for-all to sign him before the draft. I think it would be a Cam Newton scenario where you don't get the guy you want in the draft, so you bring in Cam to compete. In this case, it would be bringing in Russell Wilson to compete after the draft. So maybe I would even put
compete though. Russell compete?
Bro,
I don't know. I think if you sign Russell, you're signing him to start. You don't sign him to compete.
I don't know, man. I don't know about that.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about that. So teams that come to mind for me,
I think the Giants make a lot of sense.
I said the Giants and the Patriots, like someone who doesn't get that quarterback they want at the very top. The Saints, maybe.
I don't know
what happens with Derek Carr. Dude, Russ, I'm telling you right now, Russ is not going to have many suitors. No one wants his. Yeah, dude. No one wants his Ciara, he doesn't acquiesce to team ball. He's kind of a weirdo. Off the field, he's a weirdo. He's not like a dude's dude. He just he's just, I don't know, man. He's just weird.
That's why I said the Giants make sense.
Yeah,
because
they do.
The allure of New York.
Agreed.
Right. The market in New York makes sense for him.
And they're not bad enough this year where they might not get a Jaden Daniels or a Drake May or a Caleb Williams. So they could be the team that decides to keep Daniel Jones for one more year and then also bring in Russ to compete. So I agree with you.
I like him. I like him to the Giants. He gets a sound run game. He gets a decent tight end. It makes a lot of sense for him in New York, but that is a strange, situation out in Denver, and it's pretty crazy that he's going to, he went from let's ride to get the fuck out.
I still don't understand. I still don't understand how Sean Payton is not the Chargers head coach. I'm going to have to go, I know I said this last year.
Yeah.
But, how the fuck did the Chargers not fire Brandon Staley and hire, how did they let the Broncos get Sean Payton? How did Sean Payton sign up for this bullshit that was coming? He had to know. It's got
to be Elway. Elway had to play a part in that.
He left the Saints because Drew Brees retired and he knew they were in cap hell and they were screwed and he didn't want to rebuild for 6 years. And now he's on that same scenario. I don't know. Agree. Sean Payton, they're going to be bad for 2 to 3 years. And Sean Payton just doesn't strike me as the guy that likes being bad for 2 to 3 years. So I don't know. That's just, I'm with you. That whole franchise is red flagged. Howie Roseman, maybe you can just somehow be hey, you guys got no draft picks because you traded for Wilson and you traded for Sean Payton. So give us Patrick Surtain II, and you can have our next 2 first-round picks. I'd do that right now if I were Howie Roseman.
Yeah, I agree.
And then if you were to give me Keely Ringo and Patrick Surtain II next year as our corners instead of Old Man Bradbury and Slay, I bet everyone in Philadelphia would sign up for that.
Yeah, I'm not a big Ringo fan. Because I don't like him against.
Though. I'm just saying he can run. That's all.
Yeah.
He can run. He's. I mean, I'll stand by my.
He gets cooked by route runners. That's the only thing I like.
Oh, he's stiff hipped. He's very stiff hipped. He's high cut, stiff hipped. If he doesn't win with jamming at the line, he's in trouble.
Yeah. I'm not. I never thought. like he's played well. The last game or two, I want to say, but I don't think it's got to be the perfect scheme fit for him.
Agreed.
He's not like you can just plug and play him.
He's
It's
a
got
cover
to.
four. He's a cover 4, cover 6 corner where he can play off coverage, in zone, and kind of watch the QB and use his length. He's got good hands and he's got good closing speed. But I'm with you. If he's like backside 1-on-1 with a good receiver, he's getting lit up.
Yeah, he's getting lit. Absolutely. All right. You would think this Cincinnati Chiefs games would be a good game, but we got Browning versus Mahomes, and everybody's kind of talking about Mahomes yelling on the sideline and all this other stuff that's coming to light. Kelsey throwing his helmet across the damn bench and all this other stuff. So I don't have a bet in this game, so I'm just a pass for me. I don't know about you, but it's definitely a pass for me.
Yeah, two teams that their seasons have unfolded completely different than I think everyone thought, right? No one anticipated what happened to Joe Burrow, and then Jamar Chase being banged up. The Bengals are leaking oil. And then obviously the Chiefs, everyone thought it was going to be last year that the Chiefs were going to fall off that cliff, and it turned out it was this year. Kelsey looks old. Outside of Rashee Rice, they don't really have a young receiver that they can trust. Juju was reliable. Valdez-Scantling is not. They do have a good running game, but as Isaiah Pacheco he's a 190-pound power back, and in the NFL, 190-pound power backs don't exactly last week to week. They certainly don't look fresh week to week, and I think some weeks Isaiah looks good, and some weeks Isaiah looks like he's 190 pounds and hurting from the week before. So I just don't think the Chiefs are the same team, and I don't have a bet in this game. 7 feels like too much, but Jake Browning at Kansas City in the Kingdom can get loud. A pick 6 can go the wrong way, and then all of a sudden the game gets out of hand. So I can't trust them with 7 either. So I'm staying away.
Yeah, I'm staying away. The only thing I do say, I can see the Chiefs being in a lot of teasers. If they win, they get a playoff berth and they win the AFC East title. So there is some incentive for them to win here.
That's true. That's a good point.
And I don't see them losing twice at home, right? The Raiders went in there and beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead, and who knows the last time that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes lost twice at home. But this year has been a lot of never evers for the Chiefs. So, it's just a stay away game for me. And then good old NFC North rivalry for Saturday Night Football, Green Bay versus the Vikings. The only thing I would look here is probably I would lean the over. The Vikings have no run game whatsoever. And it's this Mullins pass. We already talked about Alexander and that fucking foolishness, offline. So who knows what Green Bay is, but Green Bay's still in it. Minnesota's one outside looking in. They're the 8th seed right now. So, anything obviously can happen. Division game. Both teams need this win. It's in Minnesota. Addison, I would look at Addison if he's hurt or not.
I think he's hurt.
Yeah, he's hurt. Jefferson had everything game. He did everything he could to help them. But Mullins is just a turnover machine. He throws the ball up. I just don't get it. Well, I do get it. Is why you're a career backup, to be honest. You're not a starter. But, who is it? Is it O'Connell? Is there Coach O'Connell? Is that his last name?
Yes.
The coach there. He's a good. Yeah. He's a decent coach. I like him. I think he's a good coach.
Kevin O'Connell.
But the way Mullins was coming off, and he's just looking at him like, what the hell are you doing, bro? Like, what are you looking at? What are you throwing at? Like, what are you seeing out there? Help me to help you. That's what I see this guy saying. Because they had a lot of chances to win that game, and they should have won that game last game, but they didn't. But no bet for me. Numbers too close. I think the number's right. It's too sharp. Lean Green Bay.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't touch that game either. I think there's a lot of I think we did a good job of highlighting the games that have a little bit of value, and then there's a lot of coin flip games, which I'm just going to enjoy watching as a football fan.
Yeah. And there's no Sunday game. Because actually no, that
There's no Monday. There's no Monday game.
Monday
Right?
in the game. There's no Monday game.
Yeah.
And that's because we're gonna get back to it. It's because thank you guys all for waiting and finally getting here. But we're talking about college football, New York bowl games, New Year's Day bowl games for the college football playoff. We have 2 games to talk about. We got the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl. First game up on the slate is Alabama versus Michigan. Michigan is favorite -1.5. Money line is -125. Total is 44.5. Seems like a true 50-50 game here. Coin flip game here. I don't have a bet on this game. We talked about it in the chat. We talked about it offline. You give Nick Saban a whole month to prepare. That sounds like trouble. And the way Alabama's been playing, it seems like we would lean Alabama here, man. But Sharp, you have a good feel on college scouting, college ball just in general. Tell the folks, man, what are you looking at this game? Are you betting this game? And if not, what side would you lean, and what would you tell to anybody who is betting this game?
This one's a tough game here.
It's a good game. Good game.
Yeah, it's a great game. I don't think Michigan was quite as good on defense this year as they have been their last couple years. That made them the dominant force they were. And on offense this year, I don't think their offensive line is quite as good as they have been in the last couple years. So I don't think Michigan is actually that physically dominant team that they were that beat Ohio State the last 2 years, which is why I think this game really came this year. That game came down to, really just came down to that one big turnover for Ohio State. But I will say that what the difference is this year for Michigan is J.J. McCarthy has taken that individual step. He can hurt you passing, and he can hurt you running to pass, not just running to run. He can break the pocket and pick up 6 yards when he needs it, and he can also escape the pocket and throw on the run. Now, I will say this. If you're just looking at pure rosters, if I were to take the names of the jerseys off and I were to just scout the players like movement skills and hitting the sled and just watching players move around and just raw traits, Alabama's the more traitsy team for sure. They got more depth. I don't think Michigan has a ton of weapons on offense, and I think Alabama's secondary is phenomenal. Tyrion Arnold, probably a first-round draft pick corner. Caleb Downs is probably the best freshman in America. He's a safety for Alabama. That dude is spectacular. I'm talking like the next Ed Reed to come out, Sean Taylor, Brian Dawkins. That kid is going to be the best safety in the NFL before very, very long. Get to know that name, Caleb Downs. Dude's spectacular. Wouldn't surprise me if he's the reason that Alabama wins if he makes a game-changing play somewhere in the red zone on defense. I just can't bet this game. I was actually thinking, the inner Ohio State fan in me was thinking, oh, Michigan's probably the best team all year. But if you go back and listen to some of my preseason Alabama or our preseason college football preview show, I actually didn't think Georgia could win the SEC this year. My pick was Bama, and it was because I actually thought Bama was going to let Milroe be the runner he is. It took him about a month to figure out who he was. But once they just kind of let him run, and then just deep shot off that, man, Alabama's a juggernaut. I don't think they quite figured it out when they played Texas. Since then, they've kind of figured out who they are. Sometimes in football, great coaches need to lose to do their best coaching, and maybe that's the case this year with Alabama. Now that it's a week of, I'm starting to lean starting to lean Alabama just to win the game outright. I probably won't pull the trigger on the game just because I'm so heavily leveraged on Washington, but I am starting to think Nick Saban will kind of have the boys ready to go.
And I think we can just kind of shift right into the next game, but I do want to ask here, what's the bigger story here? Would it be the rematch of Bama and Texas? Like, how football loves a good story. Like, what's the story to tell for the national champion? Is it Bama versus Texas? Is it Harbaugh getting into the college football championship, even though he was barred and so much scrutiny over Michigan? Washington, the Pac-12 darling that nobody thought maybe, and Michael Penix, and the coach is leaving my head, but is he the best coach in football? As of right now, what's the storyline for for the National Football college football championship that makes sense to tell here?
The true football fan, the true diehard college football fans out there that aren't a fan of any of these four teams is going to be rooting for Washington, right? The story of Michael Penix, he's been through the war. He's been hurt multiple times, started at Indiana, was a good player, got hurt, then wasn't the same player. Then his team quit on him. Then he had to find a new home. Then he linked up with Caleb DeBoer out at Washington, and he's gotten the team rolling. They're kind of the little engine that could. They're the team that it's been 35 years since they've won a national championship. They're the one team that's kind of come out of nowhere this year out of these four. It would just be really cool if they could be that TCU that actually wins that second game this year. So I think everyone out there that doesn't have money riding on it and that doesn't care about these four teams is pulling for Washington. If you have a heart for college football, it'd be cool if Washington wins the national title. That would just be cool for college football. That being said, the story that would be crazy, the rematch would be cool. I think a lot of that would be cool. A rematch is always cool, but we've seen that before with Texas or with Alabama and LSU. They ran it back. We saw that. I think it would be Michigan in the national championship with Harbaugh, basically a contract on the table to be the Chargers head coach. Meanwhile, Texas has Quinn Ewers as their starting quarterback in the national championship, and he's not even the highest paid player on their team. I just feel like that would be so the culture of college football in 2023. Quinn Ewers could be the national championship quarterback and then be told, oh, you're not our starting quarterback next year. That would be a crazy story. Does Quinn Ewers go to the draft? Or does he have to find a new home because you got Arch Manning? You already know during the broadcast, they'll bring up Arch. They'll show him on the sideline. They'll show his dad at the game.
Does Arch play?
Maybe they sprinkle him in some two quarterback set for some trick play. I could see that quarterback to quarterback to deep shot. So I just think that would be an interesting storyline. Harbaugh with all the rumors and all the cheating and all the NFL looking ahead with Texas. That would be, that would get crazy ratings. Part of me thinks people are a little tired of Saban, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's go right into it. Sugar Bowl, Texas versus Washington. I think you already kind of hinting at where you're at. Texas is favorite -4, total of 63.5. Money line is -185. Talk to people why they should take Washington.
Yeah, I've been on Washington all year. Over 9.5. Their season win total was one of my larger bets all year. I've been betting them as underdogs. I like them against Oregon. I picked them in that game to win. I liked them in the first matchup against Oregon. I liked them in the rematch against Oregon. I didn't understand why they were such big dogs. This game, I don't understand why they're big dogs. This line opened at 5. It's now come down to 4. I like a money line. Here's the thing with Texas. You can't run on Texas. They have the best defensive tackle combination in the country, hands down. Both guys probably get drafted top 50. You can't run on Texas. But Washington doesn't need to run to win. They are literally that team that can trust their QB to drop back 50 times and make smart decisions over and over and over and over. Texas is good on defense, but they're thin in the secondary. They're starting slot corners out. Washington's got the best 11 personnel in the country. Penix is going to realize that. He's going to target slot receivers. I just feel like this game's going to go back and forth. And if you're giving me 4 points in a shootout, I'll take the 4 points. It could be a push. I could see this being a game where maybe Washington's up 3 late and Texas and Quinn Ewers do go on that miracle drive and win by 4 and we push. But I've got push protection at 4. I've got Washington for 5 units on 4, and then I've got Washington money line for another 3 units. I had this weeks ago when it was 5, so I'm pretty heavily
Go Huskies, baby. Go Huskies.
I'm pretty heavily invested on Washington. They've been my dark horse all year. I'm not going to back down. Yeah, go Michael Penix. And that's taking nothing away. I like Quinn Ewers. I think Texas has an awesome roster. I think Xavier Worthy's tough to handle. I think A.D. Mitchell's tough to handle. I think this game's going to be back and forth. But to me, I've never been a huge believer in Steve Sarkisian. I think he's a good coach, but I think Caleb DeBoer's a better coach. And if you're given 3 weeks, I think the better schemer is Caleb DeBoer. I think he's proven that this year multiple times going against Oregon. Just give me Michael Penix and Caleb DeBoer.
Yeah, and I do have a play here. I think I kind of hinted at it earlier. I think when we were offline. Give me a 2-team teaser, 7-point teaser. Give me Bama. Give me Washington. I'll take the points. I don't think any of these teams get blown out. I think they make it close enough. I love Washington plus over the 10 points. Love Bama over the 8.5. That's a 2-unit play for me.
Yeah, that's a good bet. That crosses 2 key numbers. I like that. That's a really good bet for you there.
Yeah, not too many. Don't do too many. I've got away from the teasers. I'll leave that to Diddy. But I think taking the points here with the 7-point teaser, it just makes a lot of sense for me here. Makes a lot of sense for me. All right.
Agreed.
So, man, it's been 2 guys running almost damn near 2 fucking hours, but we did it. We got here. We got to the end. We have nothing but college and NFL plays lit up. So if you made it to the end, thank you. If you're new to the show, if you're just catching the show, thank you again. Make sure you hit the like, you hit the subscribe. Actually, just subscribe. We need to get to 1,000 before the year's over. Just hit the subscribe button, and then you can hit some likes and some comments and some notifications and all that stuff later on. But we got a lot of bets in. We talked about a lot of games, and I think we're going to run it up this week. I love everything we talked about. So if you don't have any more bets, that's C-Sharp. I'm Moss Money. This is MoneyPot Betting. Thank you. We don't see you. Happy New Year. Let's go into the new year with a bang. Draft season is coming. Draft show is coming. Some more one-on-one betting and tutorials is coming. College basketball is coming from Chris Farm. So we got a lot of things coming on MoneyPot Betting channel and show. Thank you again. Happy New Year. That's Sharp. I'm Money. We are out of here.
Let's get it.